Hey everyone, I'm David Finz, and on this episode of the Cyber Insurance Imperative, I'd like to focus on an issue we have seen come up for our clients when they're navigating through the cyber claims process. Specifically, it's the question of what types of expenses may or may not be covered under the policy around the incident response. The typical cyber insurance policy will pick up a range of expenses that an insured may incur in response to a cyber attack, including the costs of a forensics investigator and data restoration services. The insurer will usually have a list of pre-approved service providers in each category of expenses, and these so-called panel vendors are known for offering quality work at reasonable rates. But just because a particular vendor is on the carrier's panel doesn't necessarily mean that all of the work they do is going to be covered under the policy. You see, the work has to be deemed reasonable and necessary to the incident response, and the vendor may recommend certain work that is prudent but doesn't meet the reasonable and necessary test. For example, they may recommend an upgrade in your hardware, a concept known as betterment, which is only covered under limited circumstances. Or they may suggest that you take out a subscription to some type of detection or monitoring tool, which might help prevent a future attack, but could also be considered an ordinary cost of doing business. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that the forensics investigators or data restoration specialists are doing anything improper here. In fact, it would be irresponsible of them to tailor their recommendations to the scope of the coverage. They're professionals, and they're going to offer their clients whatever is going to make their networks more secure and resilient, and whatever safeguards can best protect their data. But at the same time, many policyholders have never been through this process before, and they might wrongly assume that all of this additional work is covered. So what can you do? Well, first of all, the adjuster is going to want to see a statement of work, or SOW. This will set forth what the vendor proposes to do based on their initial assessment of the matter. The adjuster will make clear what portion of the work may not be reasonable and necessary. Your broker should be able to help you flesh this out so that you can make an informed decision about those uninsurable expenses and to request reconsideration of any such expenses where possible. But here's the thing. Cyber attacks are sometimes like an onion. As you peel back each layer, you start to weep. Your vendor might discover things they did not know at first glance about the state of your network or data. And the additional work may not only be prudent, but also reasonable and necessary. However, these vendors are not coverage experts, so with each revision to the SOW, you need to go back to the adjuster and find out what portions of the work will be covered. They cannot approve what they don't know about. Do not assume that just because the original SOW was approved that each iteration will also be. And if your broker isn't having these discussions with you, maybe it's time that you discover the more rewarding way to manage risk. So DM me on LinkedIn or email me at david.finz@alliant.com, and I'll be happy to share more with you about Alliant's approach to cyber claims. Thanks for watching.